Hi, everyone. Good evening. Happy Thursday. I'm so excited to be here with you. My name is Yael Brudner. I am an immigration attorney, and I am going to tell you today and share with you my 5 top tips to know before you go to your green card interview. For those of you that don't know me, I'm immigration attorney Yael. My firm Brudner Law is located in Orange County, California, and we represent clients throughout the US and all over the world. And we handle a variety of immigration cases. And a huge part of what we do is attending interviews with our clients. So that's why I'm really excited to share with you guys my top tips. I think these tips are really, really helpful. And I think everyone should really come prepared and know what to expect, okay, to your interview. A lot of people get nervous about the interview, and that is completely normal and natural. In fact, I don't remember one client that wasn't nervous before their interview. So I think these tips will help you reduce a little bit the nerves, and let's dive straight into it. So my first tip for your interview, your adjustment of status interview or your green card interview, is to visit the USCIS field office a few days before your interview. Why is this important? Why should you even bother to do this? Well, like I mentioned before, a lot of people feel a little bit nervous before their interview. They don't know what to expect. And if you can reduce those nerves a little bit, then that would go a long way for you. You don't want to have to be worrying about where to park, traffic, where is the building located, how do I get in, what's the entrance. Sometimes there are multiple entrances and you're not really sure which one. You don't want to be late or flustered before your interview. So I always recommend to our clients, you have an interview on Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, visit the USCIS website, ideally on Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning the week before. That will help you know exactly, what traffic looks like, and really you can plan ahead when you need to leave. You can see how long it took you to get there. You can see the parking and all the logistics around getting to your interview. Some locations are a little trickier than others, depending on where you are in the US. So if you're in Los Angeles, parking could be really challenging. But if you're in Orange County, for example, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But I feel that I always feel better knowing really what to expect in terms of all the technical stuff. If you have time, park the car, go check out how you get into the building. What's security like? USCIS offices are located in federal buildings, so you would need, it's almost like an airport style security when you come in. So you can check out the line. Is the line really long? What are they asking when you go in to show ID, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I feel that this is a really, really, really good, strong tip, and I recommend it. Visit, go see where you're going to have the interview. If you can't do it on the same day of your interview, just do it a few days before, but just come at the same time, because you guys all know that traffic really depends on the time. And I think it's a tip that's worth doing. My next tip would be tip number 2, get your documents ready. So if you are already scheduled for an interview, you probably received a notice, and on the notice, there's a list of a bunch of documents that you need to bring. Now, not all of those documents pertain to you, because it's just a boilerplate notice that they send to everyone for every type of interview. Every type of adjustment of status interview pretty much gets the same notice, but most of the documents might be relevant. So get those ready. And a good rule of thumb is that every single document that you filed in your application, you need to bring an original copy of to the interview. So we're talking about birth certificates for the beneficiary and the petitioner, marriage certificates, proof of citizenship, which would be naturalization certificates, or U.S. passports. You need to bring, if this is a marriage case, then you need to bring bona fide documents to prove that the marriage is real and true. So, you would think about what those documents are and think about what you're going to bring before in advance. Okay. If you don't have a copy of the application that you filed, then just go back to that list and bring everything on that list. It's better to bring more documents than to not have the documents at your interview. Another thing that I recommend to my clients is to really organize the documents in a binder and have everything tabbed so you can quickly, give the document to the officer. You want a birth certificate? Sure, birth certificate. Marriage certificate? Yep, I have it right here. So know where everything is. You don't want to come with a bag of documents and you're starting to look for the documents in the middle of the interview. Another good tip is to have a copy of all of these documents. It's true that they're asking for the original, but sometimes they need a copy of it. And it's better if you have the copy with you, just a nice courtesy. The officers don't need to stand up and go take a copy and come back, and it can make them all upset. And you don't want to do that. You want the officers to feel great and be in a good mood. So I feel that they're always really appreciative when you have copies of everything as well. So that's about the documents. Again, it really helps you if you're organized, if you know what you need to bring in advance, if you organize everything nicely in a binder, then you just feel more comfortable during the interview. It just reduces the amount of nerves on the day of. Going to my next tip is to read your application and really read it. Okay. You probably filed you probably filed two kinds of applications. So you have a petition, could be the I-130, could be the I-140, could be I-360, could be different kinds of petition. And in addition to that, you have your adjustment of status, which is the 485 form. Read it. There's about 72 questions on it. Read every question. Know what the words mean. Sometimes, they ask you all the questions, they go through all the 72 questions and they'll test you. Do you know what polygamy is? One of the questions. Do you know what trying to think what espionage means? So if you answer the questions, yes or no, you need to know what they mean and what the questions are. Okay. That's just a really, really basic thing, but a lot of times, people get, they don't really read it and they get all confused and just adds to their nervousness. Okay. Know what the basis of your green card is. Know why you applied for a green card. Is someone petitioning you? Is it an employer? Is it a relative? Really know exactly why you're applying, why you're eligible for a green card. Okay. It sounds simple, but it's important to know this and know how to say this. Okay. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. And also, if you're watching the replay of this, feel free to still write a comment and we see it and we'll reply. Okay. So going on to my fourth tip. This is for marriage cases, and I think it's really important because we have a lot of people that apply for a green card based on marriage. And during the interview, the first part of the interview will be evaluating the nature of the marriage and making sure that the marriage is a true and real and what's called a bona fide marriage. Now, practice questions. On our website, we have a blog with a lot of interview questions and what to expect, but also you can just Google them. What are you asked on a marriage-based interview? What kind of questions? And, basically anything you can think about can be asked. It could be as simple as when is her birthday? What's her mom's name? What side of the bed does she sleep on? What does he eat for breakfast? Who wakes up first? What does a typical day look like? You can have fun with it and try to, quiz yourself with questions and make sure you know the answers to these basic stuff. Sometimes we see that they go through the biographic information part of the interview and they won't ask the beneficiary, they'll ask the petitioner. So let's say I'm coming with my husband to the interview and they want to confirm my husband's date of birth, his address, his parents' name, his city of birth, and then they'll ask me all the questions about him. If that happens to you, don't worry, that's totally normal. That's just another way for them to kind of check and see if this is a real marriage. Okay, so really just practice it and be natural. And if you don't remember a date, what was the date, what was the day you went on your first date? If you don't remember it, that's fine. That's also normal. A lot of people don't remember that. So you can just be honest about it and say, I don't remember that day, but ask me other days. Okay. So that's my fourth tip, specifically for marriage cases. Other interviews don't really have those kind of questions. If it's a parent interview, parent-child, not a lot of questions to ask a parent about a child. If there's a birth certificate showing the relationship, that's pretty much what they need. But for marriage cases, there's a lot of questions that can be asked, so it's worth practicing. My fifth and final tip for today is, honestly, I think the most important one. Always be honest and tell the truth. So when you go to your interview, the first thing that you're going to do is the officer is going to place you on oath. And you need to swear that you're going to tell the truth. And this is under penalty of perjury. Okay, you're going to break the law if you don't tell the truth. What happens with a lot of people is when they don't remember something or they're not sure what the answer is and they think they should know the answer, then they start getting nervous and stressed out. And sometimes they just answer something that's not true. And a lot of times they just answer something that's not true and they just put themselves in a bigger hole because, the question didn't even matter. If the question is something like, tell me, when was the last time you entered the US? That's an important question. Okay, that's something that you really, really want to say correctly because that can have implications on your approval or not. So if you don't remember, you can say, I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I'm really nervous right now. I'm kind of confused. I don't remember. If you say another date that's wrong, that can have a significant impact. Okay, so it's not even worth lying for it. Sometimes the questions don't even matter. They'll ask you, what's her city of birth? And you say something you don't know, but you make up something. And if you make up something that's wrong, the officer would maybe think, wait a minute, maybe he doesn't know what her city of birth is, and that means that they're not in a real marriage. So you get what I'm saying. The answers to your questions are important. And I don't say that to, make people more nervous. I'm just saying that to have people cognizant of the fact that they need to think about their answers and just speak truthfully and honestly. Another tip I give to everyone is just refer to your application. Almost everything that they ask you is in the application that you already submitted. You wrote the date that you entered the US last. It's on there. So that goes back to what tip was that? Tip number 3, read your application, know what you said in there. So if you don't remember, you can always say to the officer, I'm so sorry. I know it's on the application. I'm just going to refer to that. Okay. And that's my 5th tip, just to be honest and to tell the truth. And just to recap on everything, I'm going to put my contact information here. If you have any questions, if you're nervous about your interview and you want us to prepare you for the interview, call us, schedule a time to come in. We'd love to help you. We do it over on the phone or here at the office or on Zoom. We have all kinds of options. But just in general, going to an interview is nerve-wracking. Most people feel nervous, but I do really feel that if you come prepared, if you know your application, if you read it, if you feel comfortable and confident, then everything is going to go a lot smoother and is going to work out to the best side. So that that's all for today. That's my 5 tips. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to help you. And until next time, have a great weekend, everyone, and stay safe.